God, the Bible, health, spirituality, life, death, and so much more here on Reconsidered. The private generation. Why the private generation? Last time we spoke about generational trauma, debunked. So now with the advent of technology, people have said, I want to know. I want to know about my ancestors. I want to know about my great grandparents. I want to know who they were. And it's because some of our lineage in our history has been lost and stolen. Lost or misrepresented intentionally. So we are a generation longing for answers about who we are. And that's fine. You want to know who you are and where you came from. There are historical records that you can find along the way. Those that were left by kings and rulers. But do you remember the private generation? Do you remember them? Let me remind you. I had grandparents who moved from the South, and they were African American. And they left that region because everybody knows that there was a time when people did not have everything that they needed. So they moved to the North. It was called the Great Migration. I don't know anything that happened to them before they got to the North. I don't have a clue, hardly, what their life was like because they didn't talk about it. My grandfather had a limp. And he would say it was because a dog bit me when I was a little boy on my hip. So I have a limp. He never explained the story. He never told me exactly what happened. He would just say, I was bit by a dog when I was a little boy. And so I have a limp. My grandmother once told me, I didn't have good shoes when I was little. So when I was little, I said, when I get older, I'm going to have all the shoes I want. Because we were poor. My other grandmother said, it's important that you make sure your perishables are put away tightly. So she always kept a little can or a little bag and did not allow me to throw perishables straight into the garbage. She said it's because I was poor and we didn't want to have any rodents or anything come into the house. So you must dispose of them separately. There are things that sometimes I was surprised my grandmother would tell me that she didn't tell anyone else. And she would just mention it. and nothing else. You knew not to pry for any additional information. You only got what they gave you. And sometimes people said, I wish I knew this. I wished I knew Grandma had another husband. I wish I knew Grandfather had other children. I wish this. And I wish I would have known that because it would have made a difference for me because I've been going through things and I. But there was a reason they didn't tell us everything. Some things are private. And sometimes they simply said, I hate the South. I hate it. I love it here. And you say, okay, it must not have been good. Did we need to know everything that our grandparents and great-grandparents experienced? Why not? Some people came over on boats 100 years ago and from war-torn countries. And we've heard stories about those countries, and they say it was a war. We came as refugees. We came here because we didn't want to experience war anymore. Some people will tell you more details. Some did not. But did you notice when your grandmother told you details? She told you in a way that you should be proud that you don't have those circumstances anymore. That you should be proud that you didn't have to live through that. And that you should be happy that you have things that she didn't. That's the point. If they didn't tell you, it's because they felt you didn't need to know. And if they told you, they did it responsibly. They told you in a way that you did not feel worthless. We need to not tell each other things in a way that we feel worthless. We need to not tell people that they had something awful happen to them and for that reason they don't feel good now and they won't ever. We need to not tell things to people and say you did something so bad in past, and that's why you'll never be reconciled. There was a reason for the privacy of others. We have to learn to set boundaries for ourselves and others. We have to say in our heart, now I know who I am, but I understand that there's some things I will never know. It's time to move forward now. And it's time to move forward. And I'm saying this as a woman of God. We are living in a time that God said things need to change. Isaiah 65:20 through 23 says that we all deserve to have good things. We're not in a race. We don't belong to a race. The only race that we're in is for our individual life. The New King James Version, Isaiah 65:20. No more shall an infant from there live but a few days. Nor an old man who has not fulfilled his days. For the child should die 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. They should build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree, so shall be the days of my people. My elect shall live long, enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth children for trouble, for they shall be the descendants of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring, the offspring of my people, my elect, with them. The older generation did not tell us bad things happened, because they wanted us to have a new life. God wants you to have a new life. The elect are the faithful. All people deserve good things for themselves. All people deserve a house and fruit and food for them and their families. They deserve that. God is the I am.